From the campus of Pacifica High School in Oxnard, California, Time Warner Cable Sports and the Ventura County Basketball Coaches Association present the 2013 Ventura County Boys All-Star Basketball Game. It's the East against the West. Hello, everybody. I'm Randy Rosemond. This is Danny Page. We are very excited. The top 20 players, the senior performers who were so outstanding in Ventura County this season on the same floor tonight. Danny, this ought to be a show.
Yeah, we see stars year in and year out in Ventura County, but this year with so many teams making runs in the regional championships, making runs in the Southern Section playoffs, I think there's a broader range of star basketball players tonight than maybe we've ever seen in this game. I'm excited.
One of them is Ron Lee. He is a terrific performer. He's from Oak Park. Over 2,000 points in his glorious high school career representing the East.
The real deal, Ron Lee. He's the player of the year here in the county, a tremendous floor leader, lost the CIF title game 2 years ago to that famous St. John Bosco team with the Hamilton brothers. Can't wait to see what Ron has in store for us tonight.
Well, he can fill it up, and his dad was a good one who played in the NBA by the same name of Ron Lee, and he's followed in his footsteps. Eric Davis on his home floor from Pacifica. This young man can block shots. He's a rejecter.
Yeah, I think we're going to see Ron Lee and Eric Davis collide quite a bit in the lane. Lee loves to get to the basket, and Eric will be the one. He'll be the goalie tonight, sort of trying to keep Lee away from easy lay-ins.
You like athletes, you're going to like this basketball game. It's going to be up-tempo. The 31st East-West game in the Ventura County All-Star Contest. It should be fun. It's next on TWC. The West Stars with Moman, Dixon, Davis, DeAndre Jones, and Danny Tatnell. The Eastern Stars starting Max McCoy, Tanner Fanjoy, Ron Lee, of course, the Ventura County Player of the Year, Grant Lazoya, and Scott Woods. And there's the entire Eastern squad, and this is a gifted group.
Yeah, you look at Lazoya, you look at Alex Monseg from Calabasas, the late addition. Of course, Corbin Covey will run the guard spot along with Max McCoy. What a group of players.
And their head coach is Craig Griffin. He is out of Royal High School, 26-7 for the Highlanders this year. You know, he played for Simi Valley, the arch rival of Royal. And on the other side, here's the Western Stars. Really like Marty Tyler's game.
Yeah, he's a great football player. He was in the football all-star game last week as well here in the county. Great defender, the best defender we'll see all night. The guy we'll see that really lights a spark for the West off the bench is Daniel Crocker, number 23, out of Oxnard.
And the head coach is Chris Raffanelli from Rio Mesa. Been around for a long time, 8 years at Rio Mesa. They were 14-13 this last season. He's really been involved in this Ventura County All-Star game. We're about ready to play some hoops. Let's get it rolling. Scott Woods with a sizable height advantage.
Yeah, I got
here.
my money on Woods.
I got my money on Moment. And the layup, the return shot for DeAndre Jones. Lazoya hits. Grant Lazoya. Boy, that didn't take very long for him to put up a three ball. Hard to miss Grant in that orange uniform out of Westlake.
I love it.
Out of the corner, another three ball. Momum.
Santa Clara was a little quiet this season, but Momum and DeAndre Jones, obviously a dynamic duo starting out here tonight.
Ron Lee shot in and out. Woods goes up and draws the foul. I don't know that I've ever seen a team start two players wearing glasses before.
Especially
Moment
teammates.
and Jones, yes.
We give you a couple quarters, you're going to have a nickname for those two, Randy, I think. We're going to have to wait and see.
Come up with something. Scott Woods on his way to Stanford to play for the Cardinal. Nearly went to MIT. Yes,
yeah.
He has a GPA over 4.0, so he can do whatever he wants, and choosing to play in Palo Alto is not a bad idea.
Woods involved in some sort of engineering at Stanford. The specifics I can't even pronounce, no less have any idea what it actually is, I think, for Scott Woods. Brilliant kid.
DeAndre Jones. Moment. He's been active early. Armand has been very good. I like his start. Aggressive player. Max McCoy with an air ball, and it's straight out of bounds to the west.
I saw this Royal team coached by Craig Griffin, led by Max McCoy and Scott Woods a couple times in the postseason. They lost in the section championship game in Anaheim to Tustin, and then eventually to Chaminade in the SoCal regional quarterfinals. But what a team they were. Incredible year for Royal.
Rod Lee with the rebound, uncontested. Lazoya, he'll stop and pop. Rebound beautifully done by Reggie Dixon.
Nice outlet.
It really was gorgeous. And the follow is up and in by DeAndre Jones. West by 5 early. The tempo will be very rapid.
Yeah, not much time for analysis in this game, Randy. They're just going from end to end.
Rod Lee hits
so
in the corner of the key.
It's so smooth, isn't it?
He
Around
makes
the
it look
screen
easy,
from
yeah.
Woods. Look at that smile, a wry smile from Ron.
He averaged 22 a night. You're going to get the accolades. He was the County Player of the Year, and Tatnall drills it. That's a triple. Danny Tatnall. Boy, they're not wasting time. And Lazoya going to work. He hits.
At this point, the score is going to be about 300 to 200.
You need a calculator. Tatnall raising up. And Woods at 6'9", to his high school teammate, and they know each other well. And Woods slams it down, and McCoy with a gorgeous dish.
Absolute nastiness from Max McCoy and Scott Woods. We saw it for so many years at Royal, bringing it here in the All-Star game.
Fanjoy. Tanner's shot rattled in and out. Tanner Fanjoy was the MVP in the Valley at the Battle of the Valley. At 17 points, leading his team to a victory at 5 threes in that All-Star game. Tatnall with a nice dish, and Woods with the rejection. Fanjoy leaving it for Lazoya, and it's deflected out of bounds by the hustling DeAndre Jones. Some different rules in this game, Danny Page.
Let's take a look, though, first, before we get into the rules, at that alley-oop and that finish from Scott Woods. Unbelievable stuff between those two, Randy. Yeah, we're playing 10-minute quarters. It is a 40-minute game, much as you would see at the collegiate level, because that's where these boys are headed. Now, for quarters 1 through 3, each team will make line changes, if you will, at the 5-minute mark. 5 players in, 5 players out. There's no free substitutions, and that happens for the first 3 quarters. Now, when we get to the 4th quarter, forget about it. You can do whatever you want. The coaches can sub players as they want. You have to play man-to-man defense throughout the night, much to our benefit.
Fanjoy had it slapped away. By the way, there's a tremendous crowd here in Oxnard supporting these All-Stars. From the wing, the Dixon jumper fails. DeAndre Jones got it back. The set shot by Tatnall over the iron, and here comes Fanjoy. Leaving it for Lazoya. Oh, Woods, I thought he'd slam that one with ease, and he missed it. That's a rarity.
We'll let that one slide, Scott. The last dunk was as good as you'll see at the high school level.
Moman with the left hand arcing it up over Woods.
I didn't know what we'd see from Armin Moman coming in, but what an aggressive, attacking forward. Really impressed thus far.
The boys are having some fun here in Oxnard as Ron Lee will go to the line. DeAndre Jones got him. They acknowledge one another. Lee has 2 shots.
We'll see his teammate Slajchert later on. He's on the bench for Oak Park. They'll come in momentarily. That Oak Park team, of course, going to the final, as I mentioned, against what I think now we look back on is a famous St. John Bosco group.
Yep. Ron Lee was the co-MVP with Slajchert in the Tri-Valley League, and 4th all-time in the county, Ventura County, in scoring points, 2,050 to be exact. Davis forcing his way in and draws the foul.
Lee's father, of course, a former NBA player of the same name, Randy.
Yep, played 6 years in the NBA after a solid career at Oregon. A hectic pace early on. The set shot by Tatnall. nothing but nylon.
Nice triple from Tatnall. He really came on late at Buena. I think it's a real testament to his work ethic for him to be in this All-Star game. Great job from Danny and a nice triple.
Unforced turnover. Now you told me the East would win by a large margin, so I'll be checking the scoreboard out. And
It was
early
simply
on,
a prognostication.
Yes, your prognostication.
Thanks
right
for
now.
selling me out here early.
Well, I want everyone to know where you stand. Here's Ron Lee, cuts it down. It's a 3-point lead for the West, and that's why he was the Ventura County Player of the Year. Nice step back jumper.
Great game on the edge. Loves to drive to the basket.
Momum. Dixon with the return. Reggie Dixon. And with 5 minutes left in the quarter, the timeout to bring a new group in. Well, how about the first group for the West? Pretty impressive.
Yeah, really, the two young men from Santa Clara, DeAndre Jones and Armin Moman, were kind of wild cards coming in, and they've really shown us a lot here in the opening 5 minutes and 1 second. I'm excited to see this next group, though, specifically from the west side. Marte Tyler, Brandon Casas from Santa Paula, Daniel Crocker just knows how to fill it up from Oxnard, Greg Meyer from Channel Islands, and then Patrick Kenny from St. Bonaventure. Here for the East, you saw Corbin Covey on the way in from Camarillo. There's Marte Tyler.
Yeah, another player that's going to perform tonight is Anthony Tiart, who's out of Rio Mesa High School. They call him ET, and we'll see him play in this game as well.
Trio of Spartans
player
here.
will wear number 15.
Yep, a trio of Spartans in this contest. They finished second to Camarillo in the Pacific View League race.
Dakota Pierce on the baseline. Slajchert. Tipped away and out of bounds.
Patrick Kenny set to inbound for the West team. A St. Bonaventure Seraph had an incredible performance in St. Bonnie's playoff win over Santa Margarita, unseating the state champs.
That's a player we all like. We're going to learn a lot about Daniel Crocker before this night is out. A gifted player for the Oxnard Yellow Jackets. Cirillo and one. The Musketeer out of Moore Park, shot out of a cannon. And he's going to the line.
Yeah, remember this Moore Park program isn't one that is year in and year out at the top of the barrel, but they've really surged this past season, and Cirillo's been a big part of that. Great to see him in this game, and a great move to the 10, and he can add one and does.
And Cirillo with a beautiful effort. 6'2" point guard is Cirillo.
Look at this matchup there between Covey and Tyler.
Kenny from deep. Yes. Patrick Kenny with the 3-ball. He's out of St. Bonaventure. Big kid at 6 feet, 230 pounds.
How often do you see a linebacker, Randy, that's a sharpshooter like Patrick Kenny is?
Very rarely. Sam Cirillo's having a field day going down Main Street. A quick 5 for Sam off the bench. And Kenny again. And Cirillo showing us his rebounding skill. Slajchert goes up and draws the foul. He was hit and fouled by Marte Tyler. How about this pace? 24-19. We still have 3:33 left in the first quarter.
Well, I think for the Ventura County area specifically, while there might be a good 800,000 people in the greater area, these kids know each other well. They've been playing against each other and together for so many years, and with this being graduation week, some of these kids having graduated yesterday even, there's a festive atmosphere. Everybody's out having fun, and we could see both teams go over 100.
JD is a World War II specialist, and he looked pretty good at the free throw line. Where's
what do you mean
33?
by that, World War II specialist?
He's a historian. He knows everything about World War II, yeah. He's 33. He's a big Larry Bird fan. Likes the Celtics. Battle inside. Tiart couldn't control it. Here comes Dakota Pierce. Cirillo. Bam got it back. There's a tie-up.
Monseg driving to the hoop there from Calabasas. Part of that Calabasas team that won a section championship in 2012. Tied up there, nice defensive play from Brandon Casas. Great to see Monseg in this game. He really deserved it. There's no doubt about it. Now look at this. Look at Daniel Crocker helping Corbin Covey tie his shoelaces. I mean, it was a great rivalry between the two when Camarillo and Oxnard played, and you know, that's what this game is about. I think for so many people to see these bitter rivals enjoy their time playing against each other.
Yeah, Corbin is going to Colorado State. He's going to be a slot receiver there. We all know in the county about his receiving skills. He caught 143 passes for the Vikings for 1,377 yards and 9 touchdowns, and Camarillo went 10-2.
Camarillo, of course, knocking out Harvard Westlake in the opening round of the playoffs, just losing to Cathedral in the quarterfinals. Crocker
with a nice look to Tiart. Anthony battling inside, and he draws a foul. Anthony Tiart, E.T., 5'11", 150-pounder out of Rio Mesa. See, Dakota Pierce got him on the arm.
Really talented group for Rio Mesa this year. You know, they handled much of the Pacific View League. They just couldn't top their most bitter rivals in Camarillo, and that does it.
You know, Tiart's mom was Angela Burnham, who was a fabulous track star in Rio Mesa, one of the greatest track stars in the sprints in the history of the county. Here's Kenny. Oh, I thought he'd slam it. He put it in with the soft layup.
He's a linebacker. He doesn't know anything about dunking.
Yeah, but he should know about ferocity. There's another layup for Cirillo, who's gotten to the cup 3 times and has 7 points off the bench. The West by 4. First quarter action. And there's a lot of points being scored. They're pouring it in from everywhere. Tyler dropping that one through. Marte. Corbin Covey. And he had it knocked away, got it back. Slajchert with the offensive foul.
Slajchert hasn't had the start he wanted to today. He kind of laughs it off. What a run they had at Oak Park. Nice drive from Corbin, knocked away by Tyler. He holds it in play, the type of plays Corbin made famous. Monseg right off the Slajchert, and he just is called for the foul on that little bump.
Crocker missing that one. See, you're on a first-name basis with these guys, right, Danny? These are your buddies.
Just did a sit-down interview with Corbin yesterday, in fact.
Slajchert drew the foul. He's going to the line.
I think for a guy like Slajchert, he's taken down. Patrick Kenny with the takedown. For a guy like Slajchert, I feel like this is an important game for him. How easy is it to be overshadowed when you're playing with Ron Lee?
It's easy to be
overshadowed.
You
go on these deep playoff runs, you unseat Oaks Christian in the Tri-Valley League, but nonetheless, you're playing with Ron Lee Jr.
Yeah, but he's a wonderful compliment, and JD can really shoot it. Lee would draw a lot of crowds to him, double and triple teams, and JD would be sitting there and he'd knock down Jays. West lead is 4.
Had huge games in both of their league wins over Oaks Christian.
Marte's pass a little too hot to handle. 1:24 to play in the first quarter. The West with 30 in the bank.
Unreal.
East not too far behind. JD can't hit that one. Pierce battling, but Kenny has it. Crocker's going to stop and pop. Why not?
Done.
He's got the range. 3 more.
If there was any question in your mind as to whether or not that was going down, just don't ask it.
Daniel Crocker can shoot the rock, no question about it. And Kenny with a takeaway. Not looking like a football player at all. The mobility, the skills, very good for Patrick Kenny.
Ran into Croc last week at a Oxnard baseball playoff game. He says he's headed to play basketball at Ventura College. I think he can really have his skills explode at the community college level. Excited to see what Daniel can do.
Turn over to the east. Kenny getting nervous about your prediction. You thought the east would blow him out. Not yet. And Monseg with a nice drive. Alex taking it to the goal.
Nice finish from Alex. You know what, Randy? I've been wrong before, and I will be again.
No, I am saying that I don't think you will be wrong, and I'm not sure that you have been in the past. They're going to work it down finally with 20 seconds left in the half. It's the quarter. It just seems like the half. They've scored enough points to have a half.
Near the half, man.
Seems like a half, though, with this many points on the board.
Look at this matchup. These great rivals from high school, and Tyler blows right by.
And a terrific steal by Pierce with 2 seconds. JD with the slam, and the goal counts. And after the first quarter, the East on JD's slam dunk, and he loved it. Draws his Eastern Stars to within 3. Yeah, he deserves a bump for that one from his high school teammate, Ron Lee.
Yeah, it really typifies this first quarter action, doesn't it? To have the period end on a big dunk from JD Slajchert, 33-30 after one.
63 first quarter points. Lazoya able to pour one in, but the highlight was the Woods dunk. Moman got it started early on for the West, and the players got their money's worth. A lot of entertainment in the opening quarter. It's 33-30 for the West. Good fan base here in Ventura County. They love this All-Star game, and the Coaches Association gets the players together. Here's a lob, and Dixon missed the dunk, but he says, you know what, I'll just lay it in the next time.
Still
Reggie
counts
Dixon.
as 2 points, Randy, no matter how you get it.
Yeah, but the fans like the dunk. Dakota Pierce inside. Nice spin move by Dakota.
So Craig Griffin has shuffled his lineup. He stayed with a couple of the hot hands. He's left Dakota Pierce on the floor, as well as Slajchert.
Lazoya drops it off, and JD Slajchert with the return.
He's
and
having the time of his life out there.
He is. He's having a ball, and you love to see a player when they're like that. Dixon on the turnaround. Boy, Reggie hustles. Woo. And scores. Reggie Dixon knifing inside. The West by 3. Fanjoy too strong. Dixon appears to be a very good rebounder.
Yeah, he is a strong rebounder and showing the desire as well. This duo of Dixon and Davis on the floor at the same time can be so dangerous, especially with Scott Woods on the bench.
And another beautiful jump shot. DeAndre Jones, he's played well for the West. They don't get back defensively, and they're burned on the layup by Dakota Pierce. But again, it's an all-star game, and a lot of times they don't get back on D.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Chris Ruffinelli is never going to be pleased when his team doesn't get back on defense.
Well, that's a nice effort by Fanjoy, and he was fouled.
Yeah, as you said, star performer Tanner Fanjoy in that Battle of the Valley game. He's headed to Oregon Tech. Seen him come up big in some big games this year for TL.
Lazoya too strong with that one. Here comes Dixon in the West. Tatnall had his pocket picked beautifully by Dakota Pierce. And Lazoya hits.
Wow.
He's got a beautiful three-point jump shot, doesn't he?
You look at the way Lazoya, with the quick dribble to step back behind the arc and then knock it down, falling away. That is Division I type stuff right there, Randy.
Dixon from behind the arc. Bowman, Armin's a battler.
Without the goggles, too. The goggles hit the deck. Moman played on.
And Ron Lee draws the foul. A nearly and one for Ron. Boy, it is end to end. They go back and forth in a hurry. I like the success on the back of his uniform.
Well, success is something the Santa Clara program has known well over the years. Lucianovic, of course, the incredibly famous coach that led that program for so long. And these two young men have done their school well.
For so many years, nobody had more wins in California than Lucianovic at Santa Clara. Over 800 in his glorious career. A guy by the name of Gary McKnight now has surpassed that total at Mater Dei. And
I think I've heard of him.
yes, he's won, what is it, 10 state titles now?
10 now.
Jones too strong.
Next
Lazoya
ring is
rebound.
going on his toes.
Well, that's why you have toes. Ron Lee. Hey, J.D. Slajchert. He's really been good. And they'll love this one because that's Eric Davis. He plays here. His first goal, and he performs for the Tritons of Pacifica. Lazoya.
Forget about Slajchert's smile. How about mine? This is too much fun, man.
Tatnall with the reverse. I like that. Using the board to fend off the defender.
Nice move from the former Bulldog.
Ron Lee didn't hit that one. A moment. Armin is undersized, but he gets good position and uses his body to box players out. And another basket for Eric Davis. Proudly wearing that Triton uniform. 48-43 for the West. Lazoya with a terrific move, but he lost the ball. Fanjoy gets back defensively. And JD has a layup. 48-45. 5:50 to play in this first half. Game's higher scoring than the NBA Finals. Dixon off balance.
The Spurs are in there. I think we're assured of that.
Well, both the Spurs and the Heat get up and down the floor, but not like these guys.
Slajchert has 12, by the way. He's played the last 10 minutes of the game.
And a layup inside for DeAndre Jones. DeAndre Jones, maybe undersized, but he really understands the game. As he has a dozen. Slajchert again. 14 points for number 33. 50-47. Here comes the East. And Dakota Pierce for the tie. We have a brand new ball game. We're even at 50 apiece. How about the shot by Dakota Pierce?
Booyah, 50-50 with 4:55 to go in this second quarter. This has been a ridiculous performance across the board, and I think it's a nice moment for these young men to play. It's basically their first college game because they're playing against all guys that are playing at the Division I, II, or III or community college level. There are some talented ball players out here, Andy.
Yeah, they are stepping up and performing well. Tonight's All-Star Affair from Ventura County is brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Watch even more sports on more screens in the house with Time Warner Cable Sports Pass, the best value in sports. Call 1-800-TWA-TW-CABLE. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy sports better.
I definitely have the sports pass. There's really no other way to live.
The draw is 50. And here comes the East in search of the lead. Covey surveying and puts it in. That's a pretty nice move by Corbin Covey of Newbury Park.
Yeah, the Camarillo kid, great move to the basket. We saw it all year long.
And inside Tiart with the foul. Anthony Tiart in the right spot at the right time. They're running and going. I mean, everyone's putting it up quickly. Here's Cirillo. And he draws the foul. Still 4 minutes plus remaining. And we're above 50 as Sam goes to the line. Sam has been the man in this game.
Been a